Welcome to SportsBeat KC, the Kansas City Star Sports podcast presented by First Federal Bank. It's Wednesday, June 22nd. I'm Blair Kirchhoff. The NBA draft is upon us, and it should be a busy night for former KU Jayhawks and Kansas City area high school stars Ochai Agbaji and Christian Braun. They're expected to hear their names called and begin the next chapters in their careers. The mock drafts have Agbaji taken anywhere from the 10th pick to the late teens. Braun is projected to go in the late first round or sometime in the second round. Agbaji was a DeRena Award winner at Oak Park High. Braun won 3 straight state championships at Blue Valley Northwest and was the Kansas Player of the Year as a senior. Oh, and they helped Kansas win a national championship a couple of months ago. On today's show, KU beat writer Gary Bedore shares his thoughts on the players and the draft. After a break, we'll hear from Kansas player who's not going to be drafted tonight, Jalen Wilson. He went through the scouting process and elected to return to KU. He met with reporters earlier this week, and you'll hear much of that interview here. Okay, let's get started talking NBA draft, Ochai Agbaji and Christian Braun with Gary Bedore. All right, Gary, let's get right to it. NBA draft, Thursday night. Where do we think Ochai Agbaji and Christian Braun are going to go? Let's start with Och. I keep seeing kind of anywhere between 10 and 18 for him. Is that what you're seeing too? What do the mocks have?
The most optimistic would be 10 at the Wizards because he's worked out for them. And the good news for Och is that between 10 and 18, like you said, he worked out for most of them, and they might want him. The Wizards at 10, the Knicks at 11, Okie City at 12. I haven't heard a lot about Okie City or the Knicks. 13 though, the Hornets, but the Hornets also pick at 15. So if he misses the 14-team lottery, possibility of the Hornets. But the one that has all the buzz is 14 of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Self does not know. He talks to a lot of GMs, but he doesn't really, in the past, he's never had the call Bill Self, he'll know. I mean, he doesn't know for sure. But he said he's heard the Cavaliers, but most of the mocks have dropped Ochai to the Cavaliers. So that's kind of weird. That means that the Cavs like Ochai a lot. So if he goes that long, that would be the one I'll be watching. But then you got the Hornets at 15 again. They have 2 picks. A lot of people aren't excited because the Hornets organization has still been struggling. Atlanta Hawks at 16, Rockets 17, but then I have seen the Bulls at 18. They'd probably, if he lasts that long, would love to have him. So the thing about Ochai that makes you hope for him that he'll get lottery or a little bit after is that he has the tag still as a good shooter. And he didn't lose any momentum on that at the combine or anything. And I've read good shooter on Ochai, maybe even one of the best in the draft. So that is kind of the prevention of falling off the map, because some years you never know why, but some poor kids that are picked for the green room don't get picked. So I guess you got to go with the experts. And if you were gambling, say Ochai 14 to the Cavs. Gary Parrish of CBS all along has said Ochai's going top 10. We hoped for the best because Ochai's a nice guy.
Yeah. And a Kansas City kid. That's what I like about both of them. Ochai and Christian Braun both went to high school, played their high school ball in Kansas City. And you're right about Ochai's shooting. Over 40% or about 40% on threes as a senior. He was about at 50% like first half of the season. He was just lighting it up. And then he had that great game against Villanova in the national semifinals where he knocked down his first 6. So a 3-and-D guy. I keep hearing on him. He's a great
Yeah.
shooter, good defensive player, and a great athlete. So I think all of those work in his favor. 6'5", wingspan of 6'10", good size there. Averaged 18.8 as a senior this year. The kind of the knocks, I don't know if you've heard this, but kind of the knocks I've heard on Ochai as an NBA prospect is he's not a great ball handler. He had not a great assist turnover ratio in college. Good defensive player, blocked a lot of shots in the NCAA tournament, but just as his handles, he's just not a terrific ball handler. Have you heard that as well?
Yeah. Just you hear just a solid player that his peak would be an NBA starter. No one's saying all-star or anything, but
right.
Yeah, I was looking through some old quotes, and Christian Braun was saying Ochai blocked a few threes even this year off players. So pretty good defender. And but yeah, maybe the ball, even Ochai said that during one of the interviews, ball handling, he has to impress teams with if he wants to play a lot. But Ochai pointed out they like his IQ, smart player, just a good solid prospect.
Yeah.
And lottery would be quite a thing for him, because he arrived as the 144th ranked player in the class of high school players, and now he might be a lottery pick.
Yeah, that's really a testimony to Bill Self's coaching and the staff really at Kansas and how he developed throughout his career. I continue to make the point that there cannot be too many other basketball players in America as good as, I'll tell you what, I know this for a fact, as good as Ochai, who went to one high school and one college for 8 years, right? 4 years in high school, 4 years in college.
Yeah.
Same high school, same school, in this age of transferring and, finding the better deal for yourself. Ochai, when he got to Kansas, decided that's where he wanted to be and that's where he wanted to improve. And he's improved his way into becoming, almost a lock of a first round draft pick. The other thing you hear about him is because he's a senior, he's going to be maybe the oldest player selected in the first round or in the draft. And that works both ways, right? Teams like young players, but at 22, he's going to be more maybe NBA ready than other 19-year-olds that get drafted. So it's sort of a little bit of a double-edged sword for Ochai. I saw an interview once where he compared himself to Desmond Bane.
Yeah,
I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, Ochai's been doing that consistently. In the NBA interviews that the teams post after the workouts, several times he brings up Desmond Bane. And Bane in his second season with Memphis, same 6'5" like Ochai, averaged about 18 points after averaging about 9 as a rookie. So Ochai said he played against Bane too, but he's watched films of him, and that is the comparison Och came up with. So that would make sense because Bane had a real good year. Haven't heard, superstar, all-star or anything yet. That's the one he comes up with.
Yeah. Of course, Bane played at TCU, so they did. They did play against each other in college. Okay, well let's switch players here. Talk about Christian Braun a little bit. After he's going out after his junior year, 6'7", 21 years old. Second team All Big 12 this year. Averaged 14.1 points, 6.5 rebounds, 2.8 assists. Shot 39% on threes. I think, did he end up leading KU in block shots? Because I know he was, he was up there most of the year. I don't know if McCormick passed him toward the end, but gosh, he was leading the team, leading the Big 12 for a while in block shots as an off guard, which is pretty amazing. Played several positions, of course, for the Jayhawks. Do we know who all he's worked out for?
Yeah, not all of them, but Indiana, which has a pick at 31, which would be disappointing because that's second round. Clippers are the ones that I saw publicized. Now he's been tied to Orlando, which is a second round pick. And the Spurs, the first round at 25. Spurs have not had a history of taking KU guys, which is funny because Bill and R.C. Buford are so close.
Right.
That would be kind of neat. I'm sure Braun would love to go to the Spurs because they've historically been such a good organization. If they're high on him, that, odds are pretty good that he's going to make it.
Yep. The other one that I've seen him associated with is the Grizzlies at 29. So it would be cool to see Braun go in the first round. But that's sort of where it stands with him, isn't it? Late first round, but second round is a distinct possibility as well.
Yeah, that's the word on him. Late first, second, early in the second. He's the kind of guy that you just really wouldn't be shocked to see him fall, because sometimes that happens for whatever reason. Or if somebody really likes him, what if we hear that he's picked right after Ochai or something?
Right.
But Braun is praised for being a winner. He won in high school, he won in college. And he has good athletic measurements from the combine. So this guy is very athletic, also known as a good shooter. We all know he was a little bit streaky. He wasn't automatic. But again, when shooting is not considered a liability at all, like Jalen Wilson this year has to improve his three-point shooting a bit for the NBA to trust him. But Braun and Ochai are okay in that regard.
For sure. No doubt about it. Christian Braun, 3 state championships, Kansas 6A championships at Blue Valley Northwest. And, of course, Ochai at Oak Park in Kansas City. So,
yeah.
If he goes in the second round, Christian Braun does, he'll join former Jayhawks like Devontae Graham and Svi Mikhailuk, Frank Mason, Jeff Withey, Tyshawn Taylor as Mario Chalmers, Darnell Jackson, Sasha Khan. Those are guys that were drafted in the second round. So some good Jayhawks were second round draft picks.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll all be watching with interest the NBA draft on Thursday night. Gary, we just completed watching with interest the NBA Finals with the Golden State Warriors defeating the Boston Celtics. And if Steph Curry was not the best player on the floor, he was. He obviously was. He was the most outstanding player. The second best player on the floor throughout the series was Andrew Wiggins, I thought. Incredible series for him. Really was the hero in was it game 5 after Curry had his 43-point game in game 4. He went 0 for 9 from 3 in game 5, and it was Andrew Wiggins who came up huge in that game. So what was the kind of the reaction from Bill Self and around KU about Andrew Wiggins' performance in the NBA Finals?
Just that they were so happy because he, like you said, he was probably the second best player on the winning team. And one of the games he got 16 rebounds, which was his career high. But he Self said he just fits in so well there because they have real good name players in Curry, Green, Klay Thompson. There's another one that I forget, but Wiggins fits right in and emerged as a defensive guy, a defensive stopper too. He all around, he was guarding the other team's best players, not just in the finals, but other rounds. So he's supposed to get a good extension on his contract based on how he played.
No, he was fun to watch, and that was somewhat like the Andrew Wiggins, the Kansas fans saw in his one season at KU, the 13-14 season. How would you categorize his NBA career up until his Golden State, his career at in Minnesota when he was the overall number one pick in 2014? He took a lot of grief for being an all-star starter this year. Did he deserve it? And it was nice to see him respond the way that he did, but I don't know. Was it the kind of career that you might expect from a guy who was the overall number one pick, or was it just the wrong place for him in Minnesota?
Probably the wrong place. He averaged about 18 or 19 a game, which is a lot, but Minnesota only made the playoffs once with him. So I saw one story that called him a bust, New York Post, I think, but they acknowledged that he's no longer a bust. Plus, he's only 27. So Wiggins, out of nowhere, could have a monster career if he builds on this. He's only 27. If he stays with the Warriors, they could win it all next year again. And that'd be 2 titles. The guy could end up having, what if he keeps being an all-star?
Right.
So Wiggins deserves credit for staying healthy. And, when you're a one and done, it can happen that it takes a long time. And he's been rewarded financially. The guy's made so much money, but now he could actually put together a wildly successful career. Will he? Who knows? But you got to like his odds of winning more titles if he stays with Curry, because if those guys stay healthy, they're getting older, but they're not washed up. So
right.
Wiggins might win several rings.
Yeah. It would be fun to see a Warriors 76ers final next year with Wiggins against Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
Okay. NBA draft is Thursday night. We expect I think in this order, Jabari Smith from Auburn, Chet Holmgren from Gonzaga, Paulo Banchero from Duke as the first 3 picks. And then we'll get through a few more and then likely see Kansas City and KU Jayhawk Ochai Agbaji selected. And hopefully not too long after that, Christian Braun, originally from Burlington, Kansas, Blue Valley Northwest state champion. And then, of course, KU star this year as well. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to hear from Jaylen Brown, who met the media earlier this week in Lawrence. He is back this year, had a decision to make about his future, and decided to return to KU. And he was asked about that by Gary Bedore and several other reporters who gathered at Kansas this week. So take a break, Jalen Wilson, and we'll bid farewell to Gary Bedore. Gary, thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks a lot.
Buying your first home is a huge milestone, but the journey there can be confusing. First Federal Bank of Kansas City is here to make it simple. After nearly a century of serving the KC community, our loan advisors have experience in every type of housing market. With a short phone call, we can give you a free rate quote and talk through loan options. No pressure, no obligation. The road to home ownership can be simple with First Federal Bank. Get started with a free quote at ffbkc.com/homes. First Federal Bank of Kansas City, because banking is personal. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, this is Blair. There are several ways to access the Star Sports section. Let me tell you about a couple of them. There is Sports Pass. For $12.99 a month, you get unlimited digital access to all of the Star Sports content, including beat writing, columns, features, pretty much everything we write. The deal renews monthly until you tell us to cancel. For $159.99 a year, you get everything the Star has to offer digitally, including sports and the e-edition. Go to kansascity.com and drop down to the bottom of the page where it says Start a Subscription for more information. Your support has never been more important. As always, thanks for reading and listening.
Jalen, what's it feel like being back after going through that decision and all the time you spent thinking about it, and now you're here and it's on?
It was great. I miss Lawrence. It was a great process. Got to learn a lot about myself and of the season, and I'm just really excited for this new year we have, especially coming off how we finished last year. It's gonna be really well.
Did you ever think you'd test twice and return twice? I mean, a lot of guys don't do that, right?
Yeah, no. I didn't think so. Probably like, what was it? June 1st was the day. Probably like a week before, I was really leaning towards going on, and I just kind of had like a thought to myself at night, just on what's best for me. And obviously the NBA is my dream and goal, but I think what was best for me was coming back and just reestablishing a lot of different things. I think personally, the way the year went, it was obviously the greatest year I could ask for, but I just want a complete year with just good basketball and stuff like that. And I feel like me starting off the year so slow last year kind of hindered some things. So just being able to get off to a good start and have a full season is what I really want for myself.
This goes back a little bit, but how disappointed are you when you don't get a combine invite originally? I mean, I know you played your way into it, but did that hit you hard? I mean, especially after last year, same thing. I mean, how do you respond to that, and was it a disappointment?
I mean, kind of not. I mean, I'm so used to adversity as y'all have seen throughout these last 3 years. Nothing's really just been handed to me. I knew that I was going to have to go and earn that. Even with winning the championship, I knew that I was still going to be overlooked. And I felt like that was the best thing for me, was getting out to showcase, how hard I've been working on my shooting and stuff like that. And I feel like I played well there. And, just guys, there's a lot of political games. And, I feel like, now coming back this year, I'll have the political side on my side this year. I hope, and, being able to carry that through the season.
For you, during the process of talking to those teams and doing the workouts, what were some of the things they said that made you like see you work on this, or this is something you really excel in right now?
The biggest thing was just shooting. I mean, my numbers last year weren't that good, especially from the three-point line. They were all for the defense, rebound, and stuff like that, but really just shooting. So I focused on that all season, or all summer. And, I went to these workouts and showed them, and they saw. That's why the decision took so long, because I was getting good feedback, but, at the end of the day, I knew what was best.
Which teams did you end up either working out for or just meeting with?
I mean, probably every team that way. And I probably worked out for Spurs, Knicks, Nets, Milwaukee. Milwaukee twice, actually. I hope I'm not leaving nobody out. I think so, that's it.
You said you were leaning one way. What things?
I was leaning on, NBA, obviously going from a good combine. My G League was really good, and I thought that was going to be able to carry it on. But, I figured that being able to come back and be a good leader and stuff like that, and have a good year like we did last year would kind of help my, maybe I don't have to go to the G League combine, first and go straight to the combine and go from there. So.
You've seen examples, not just Ochai, but in the past too. Devontae comes back and has a big year. It's his team, all that. Did that factor in at all for you?
Of course. I mean, my biggest thing was just patience. If you look at all the guys that were on our team last year, a lot of them was their third, fourth year playing, and that was only my second year playing. If you look at it as far as being like my redshirt year, so I just looked at. I mean, Ochai excelled after his fourth year. CB excelled after his third year, and I feel like with this being my third year, I'm running around the same pace. It's just still learning and stuff like that, and just being patient, not rushing the process. Because I mean, I don't know why you'd ever want to rush a place like this. I mean, it's really special, especially with being on the court. I mean, I remember playing against Texas, and I was like, not knowing, NBA or not, I'm like, man, I don't know if this is my last game. It's crazy just feeling the love from everybody, and like, I can't rush a place like this. It's once in a lifetime to play in a place where everyone's here to watch and love you. You get to the NBA, it's people just there just to go to the games, but here people care, so that was a big part of it.
Where do you want to take your game? You talked about the shooting already, but obviously a lot of what worked during your run to the title was you getting downhill and being physical with guys. I mean, where does your game go from here?
Obviously never switch away from that. That's just, how I play, and especially at the NBA level, you're never going to walk into a place where they just hand you the ball and tell you to go, hey, go lead our team. I mean, even if a guy like Ochai, who completely did everything, first team All-American, even guys like that have to find a role just to start off. It's rare that guys just get handed the ball and, just to go be the leader. So just having a role and knowing what I do best and not getting away from that. And just polishing up on things, always going to be a better shooter, better rebounder, better defender, always those things. But I really want to focus this year on just communicating, being a good leader, because, the next class is always going to learn from the older guys, and I just want to be the best example that I can be.
What do you think of Bill Self saying you could be an All-American?
I agree. I mean, I'm very confident in my game, especially with, everyone who's in college basketball this year. I feel like we have a really good chance to win. I feel like everyone on this team has a special place, and, I'm confident in myself and thankful that my coach is confident in me as well.
Kevin talked about his relationship with you. I guess can you walk us through kind of the timeline of you two talking more as the season ended and kind of how you guys talked throughout his decision process?
Yeah, I mean, we met throughout high school, playing basketball against each other, playing video games, stay connected, social media and stuff like that. And when he told me he was transferring, he called me, said he had a Zoom with Coach Self and everything went well. And I was like, man, that'd be crazy. I mean, especially with, how my mind was as far as going back or not and knowing that, he's here. That's a huge piece, huge transfer. And with the guys we have now, like, there'd be no reason why we couldn't contend for another championship. So I just, once he made that move and I knew in my heart what I wanted to do, I just, started getting things going, started talking to guys and letting them know, like, how serious this is and also how fast it goes by. Because, I still remember playing in New Orleans like it was yesterday. And it's like, the fact that we're already talking about a new season is crazy. So just being able to do that.
Not many guys get that opportunity to come back and defend one just because you don't win it every year, right? So where have you kind of polished up your knowledge of what it will take, not just to get back there, but to be a leader with that target and just different circumstances like that?
I think the biggest thing probably I learned last year was just how hard it is. Like, you saw it from the second round of Creighton. We're down, coming back. That's just the second round. First weekend, Coach always talks about getting out of the first weekend, second weekend, making it to the third, and, just getting these guys to understand that, it's never going to be easy. Being down 15 in a championship game is insane, but it happens. And you just got to be prepared for that. And, a lot of times, freshmen or new guys that are not used to Kansas Coach Self, man, these practices are hard, this and that, but when you get into the game, it's like we've already seen this before. I don't think there was one time where we really got rattled in the tournament. We got out of character, but never just to where we just flat out just don't look like ourselves. Besides, championship game was pushing a little bit, I'd say, for sure. But, we found a way to come back. It's basketball. So just knowing the ups and downs and how hard it is, and, that's why you just got to buy into what Coach is saying and, understand that he knows what he's talking about, obviously.
Have you given much thought to what it's going to be like, feel like? Mitch, CB, Och, Dave, those are all your guys that you've been here with for a long time, and you look around in practice, and next season none of them will be out there. Have you thought much about that? Has it felt weird yet?
Oh, yeah. Seeing that the class I kind of came in with is gone, except for Juan and Jake, of course. It's always something new, but I also look at it as a new opportunity to kind of like leave my mark on the school, this new team. These are going to be guys that are going to be the next CB, Dave, Remy, Jalen. Like, these are going to be the next ones, and it's like to be able to kind of show them, hey, this is how we do it here. This is what we're used to doing. It's kind of special to me. I want to leave this school as a guy that did a lot of different things and, helped out the next people, not just worry about myself.
That'll do it for today. Thanks to our SportsBeat KC production staff of Randy Mason, Monty Davis, Jeff Rosen, and Chris Fickett. And a shout out to our sponsor, First Federal Bank. Their website is ffbkc.com. Tip of the cap to Gary Bedore for sharing his insights. Hey, the NBA Draft, Stanley Cup Playoffs, College World Series, Wimbledon, last night's crazy Royals victory over the Los Angeles Angels, all covered in full in today's morning sports edition. Go to liveedition.kansascity.com for more information. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back soon with another SportsBeat KC.